Hi, welcome to Feminism on Trial. Let's talk about incels. Just that word gets me fired up because people are using it incorrectly. Well, first of all, they're using it, and I don't like that to begin with. But if we're going to use it, let's use it correctly. Incel stands for involuntarily celibate. It is being used a lot with reference to the Idaho murders. Is the suspect who has been arrested, suspected of committing these murders, has been referred to as an incel. And across YouTube, on mainstream news even, they're using that to describe him and sort of using it synonymously with that he would be aggressive and dangerous and murderous. I understand the reference to Elliot Rodgers. I get it. And I think that kind of started it, but that wasn't mainstream. That was definitely in its little bubble. So, but now with Brian Kohlberger, you have the term incel blasted across social media. It's everywhere now. It's permeating. And the thing is that he might have been involuntarily celibate. He might have been. But the thing is about somebody who is involuntarily celibate, it doesn't mean they're murderous. That's the outlier. Sure. Is it possible that he was bullied in high school by girls? They threw things at him because he was overweight and whatever else their reasons were. And it's horrible. It's horrible that he would be treated that way. But if he was bullied and he was rejected by women, and then he lost weight in his later years in high school, and he probably, as one of my male sources who kind of helps me understand all of this from the male point of view, said, yeah, he probably figured out girls still weren't interested in him, because we know that women are interested in the top 10% of men. And even if he lost weight, it doesn't put him in the top 10% of men. And he wouldn't have gained any sort of, if he's been overweight that whole time, he didn't really know how to talk to girls. He would have been awkward, etc. So of course, girls are still going to reject him. You guys who are watching know that that's what girls do. They reject guys, unless you're over 6 feet, have a six pack, have six figures, etc. So he probably learned, doesn't matter. They're still horrible to me. So could that have made him angry? Could that have made him resent girls? Could he have had, the type of personality to be, to lack empathy, etc.? Sure, it's possible. Does that mean every man who is involuntarily celibate, meaning it's difficult for him to get a date, he wants to be in a relationship and no girls are interested, does that mean all those guys are dangerous and murderous and evil? And no. If that were true, there'd be murders going on everywhere. Because we know that, like I said, women, girls, whatever you want to call them, females, reject 80% of men. They look at it's real. 80% of men are below average to them. And that just means 20% are above average. That doesn't mean they'll date them. So most men, if you look at those statistics, that means that most men are involuntarily celibate. Because all the females are going after 10% of the guys. So there's 10% of the guys that are getting all the action, and the rest, there's nothing. They're getting rejected. They're not getting any responses on online dating. Their prospects are few. These women and girls have it in their head because they can get a top tier guy to have sex with them, basically, that means that one of those top tier guys will want to marry them one day, when they're ready, after they've done their career and they've got their house and they've done all the things that guys don't care about. Then they'll marry one of these top tier guys. These top tier guys are not going to marry one of them. If I'll use the guys' language, they rate everybody. Like if a girl's a 6 and she can, have sexual relations with a 10 or a 9 because it was a slow night at the bar or the club for the guy, she then gets it in her head, oh, that's what I'm worthy of. So one day, that's who if I want to marry, that's who I'll marry. No, they're not. They're not going to do that. You're just passing time. It was a slow night at the club. They're not interested in you like that. They're not going to take you home to their family and take you to the country club. They're not interested in that. But these girls don't know it. My point is, tons of guys not getting any dates. So that would make them involuntarily celibate. Are they murderous? Are they rapey? Are they all of these things? No. Or you would see it en masse. And you don't. What I don't like is using the term incel and making it where it's referring to some kind of like somebody who should be rejected, somebody who is subpar, somebody who's, the dregs of society. No. Most men who are involuntarily celibate are good men. They're good men. It's sad. And I know the last thing they want is pity. They're like, no, I don't want your pity. But it's sad because these men are fully deserving of a good woman, of a good wife, of a good mother of their future children. They're completely deserving. They're hardworking. They're fit. They're not at the gym 4 hours a day, but they're good. And they're good guys, They go to their job, they have a good salary, they have good morals. I mean, there are so many men out there who are getting rejected by women who are good men. And these men are, being thrown into this incel category and being looked at as if they are bad. And I really hate that because they're not. The way I look at an incel is I look at them like you're a victim of feminism, because feminism has basically convinced these women that they can go out and screw whoever they want, and they choose these, hot guys or rich guys or whatever, because they think that's what their value is, because they're delusional, and then reject all these guys. So all I think about is the entitled, spoiled, snotty girls who have looked these men over, and these men are fully worthy of a good woman, but there's no good women. Because feminism has told them, you deserve everything. You should get everything you want, and they believe it. They're not happy, by the way. They get older and it's time to settle down. I'm talking about the women now. They get older and it's time to settle down. And those 10s and 9s that they kind of had a little romp with when they were younger have all, either they're still pumping and dumping, or they've married a high quality girl that can go to the country club and is the daughter of a CEO or whatever the heck. They're not marrying some skank from the club. That's not what's happening. So, what happens to those 6s and 7s and 4s that held out and rejected all these good men? Well, I hope they like their career and their cat. No shade about cats. But that's all you're going to have left. And you're going to be suddenly 38, like, where are all the good men? You rejected them. You called him an incel. So, Brian Kohlberger, although he might have been involuntarily celibate, like most men kind of find themselves in that situation, don't say that every guy who is having trouble getting dates is a murderer, is evil, deserves it. They don't. They deserve better. The only reason there are incels is because there are women who are entitled and spoiled and stupidly rejecting them. But those women, if there's any guys watching and you have been rejected and, even worse, scoffed, treated cruelly, these girls aren't happy. They're not happy. They act like it. And especially when they hit the wall and they're not getting that action, that validation anymore, they're alone. They're going to end up alone. And it's a lot harder for a woman to be alone, no matter what they say, no matter what we say. It's harder for us to be alone. We're not designed for it. Men can be. You're much more designed to be solo. We are not. So I don't know if that gives you any solace. I don't know. But you deserve better. You do deserve a good woman. Feminism has just made it so there aren't any. I feel like I'm always leaving you guys like, well, the world sucks. Bye. But, I feel like you got to speak truth, and I don't hear it. I don't hear it anywhere else, especially coming from a female voice. I don't hear it. Nobody's saying these things. So I have to come and be the messenger. I don't like the message, but I still feel like it needs to be said. So have a good rest of the day. Be well.